Welcome to For Collectors.
Well, good morning, baseball fans, and welcome back to For Collectors. My name is Dan. I have a channel right here, but I am one of the For Collectors, a channel that Theo likes to say is for collectors like you, which it is. We have two great guests today, and we're going to talk about a great player, a pioneer in the game of baseball, Larry Doby. Let me bring on my guests first. We have Tony and we have Skaght. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing awesome.
Good morning, Dan.
How does my audio sound?
Bright and clear.
You sound
All
sexy,
right.
buddy.
Yeah,
I'm not bragging on the mic, but the last time I did a pre-recorded For Collectors piece, the audio in the intro got looped in somehow, and every time I spoke, it sounded like I was a frog. So I just want to make sure I don't sound like a frog.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Anyway, so Skaght and I were part of a 4-person team that did a really good show on For Collectors primarily about this book with the author Luke Epplin and Epplin, and we I don't know, we were like an hour and 20 minutes, but we didn't spend enough time talking about the players because it was such a sort of comprehensive show.
Right.
But Tony, you had approached me and said you'd like to talk about Doby and Larry Doby, and of course I thought obviously first of Skaght because I had seen Skaught's collection. So today we're going to spend a good chunk of that time just talking about this one particular player because of his importance historically. Skaght, how does it feel in Cleveland? What's the reputation or the knowledge or the sort of backstory of Larry Doby to somebody who's from Cleveland?
Well, Larry is kind of like our Jackie or our Roberto Clemente. You know, we all kind of just kind of cherish that he was such an important part of not only baseball but history, and he started it all here. So we're pretty proud of that.
And Tony, you have amassed in a short period of time a really good collection of Larry Doby autographs, which we will see. What's your impetus to become like sort of a player collector for Doby?
Well, I really got into Jackie Robinson, and then man, I grew up learning about baseball history and reading books and all that, and I'm ashamed to say, like, I didn't really realize his impact until, man, probably 3-4 years ago, and that's horrible. And so once I dove into his story, I was just blown away. Not only what he did, but how he just is grossly underappreciated. And he's a heroic figure, man. And what he did, I'm not undercutting what Jackie did, but what Larry did in his story and how it all went down, he had it worse than Jackie, man. He was brought on a team that had no forethought that was going to happen, and they were mad because they thought it was just a stunt by Bill Veeck, who was known to do some stunts trying to bring people to the stands, and they just didn't think he was worthy, and so they treated him like crap, man. Except for, and maybe we'll talk about a couple of guys who didn't, but yeah, the story is amazing. So it hooked me.
So he ends up, I guess, he's born in Camden, South Carolina. His father dies young. His father dies when he is young. And so he ends up being raised by his grandmother and some aunts, and his mother moves up to New Jersey, but eventually he ends up in Paterson, New Jersey, where he's like a 3 or 4 sports star in high school, to the point where he gets a college scholarship to play basketball. And then he ends up trying out for the Newark Eagles and we'll show it right here at Hinckley Stadium.
Yeah.
So I went to Hinchcliffe Stadium for an event. I guess it was last March, maybe February. No, it's February because you see the snow on the ground there, and there's some Doby stuff there, which we'll look at in a little bit. But what do you, Scott? What do you think about the like the time in the Army? Do you have any stories from when he was? I'm sorry, Navy. He was in the Navy. Any
Right.
stories about Doby's time in the Navy?
Like Tony and I were talking about this earlier, it was like really the first time he experienced segregation because like in high school they really embraced him as a teammate and everything. It's, so far that like they were invited to play in the South and they wouldn't let Doby go, so they decided just not to go to that game or tournament or whatever it was. So when he got to the Navy, like it wasn't like that. He said, "You're over here with the other black people," and he wasn't really used to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a story of him, I guess, trying to play for a white team and being like thwarted. Am I mixing that up with Robinson? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Tony?
Robinson had that happen to him.
Okay, right.
Fort Hood, Texas. Larry, he met some pretty interesting people, but like Scott was saying, you know, when he grew up in Patterson, he couldn't sit where his buddies sat in the movie theater. He had to go to the balcony. But other than that, I mean, he was thought really highly of there. In fact, when he graduated, the town threw a big party for him and gave him gifts. You know, had Larry Doby Day and had a theater rented and faded him. But anyways, when he went to the Navy, like Scott's saying, when he went to Chicago, when they got off the bus, the black guys went here and the white guys went over there. And he had never really experienced that because he didn't grow up in the South except when he was a little kid. And so anyways, yeah. So when he was in the South Pacific, he was stationed on an island there. And it's there in the South Pacific that he heard on Armed Forces Radio that Jackie Robinson was signed. So that's something that's, you know, and honestly, he talks about in that book that he was shocked. He didn't grow up idolizing Major League Baseball players because that just wasn't his world. He was a really good football player and a really amazing basketball player. But there was, like Jackie Robinson, there was more ways to make money in baseball at the time with the Negro Leagues. So that's what they both end up doing. But yeah, it's really interesting.
I'm always moved by the story of him meeting Mickey Vernon.
Yeah.
In the South Pacific, and Mickey Vernon suggesting to was it Clark Griffith with the senators that they should sign Doby, and they said no, we're not even getting there yet with Washington. So, and he later on becomes teammates with Mickey Vernon, and we'll see that a little bit later. So he comes back from the war. He plays for the Eagles in Newark, and he's one of the best players. And he and Monty Irvin team up together to win the Negro League World Series in 1946, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then in 47, he's off to the races. He's batting like 400 or whatever. And Bill Veeck has decided that he wants to sign an African-American player. And Doby is one of the guys that they recommend.
Yeah.
So he goes, where is it? There we go. So it says Larry Doby, hometown hero. Larry Doby was an extraordinary athlete and sportsman. He's an enduring part of Patterson's story, Patterson High School, Patterson, New Jersey. Baseball story and America's story. His history-making path began here at Hinchcliffe Stadium, and then they have a sign for his first game, which was in Chicago on July 5th, 1947, which is, you know, we're coming up on July 4th now. So he I guess how does it? Bill Veeck takes a train to New Jersey or something. Is that, Scott? Do you remember the way that the signing sort of transpired and how they sort of did it in an odd manner?
I don't know that he met Veeck until he got to Chicago.
Yeah, that's
correct. Is that right?
But Veeck sent somebody that worked for the team, and his name escapes me, but he sent him down to get him and bring him back on the train to Chicago.
Yeah. And yeah, he was an African American guy too.
Yeah.
He was kind of the liaison. He was the one kind of scouting out the Negro League players, trying to find the right one. And then they settled on Doby. So it was like a week-long thing. And you know, the story goes that Branch Rickey, he was trying to grab all these Negro League players, and he wasn't paying the Negro League owners for the players. He was just pilfering them. And so Effa Manley, the owner of the Eagles, being a very strong woman, she insisted on getting paid. And then Beck is the one that started. He actually paid. He didn't pay what he would have had to pay for a major league contract,
Right.
but he did give her some money. So it took like a week for that to happen. So Doby knew it was coming, and then he got the phone call like a couple of days earlier, and they were trying not to let it out.
So then I guess they take a train back to Chicago, and they're playing, and Doby is going to become the first baseman somehow or another.
Yeah,
which doesn't play well with the current first baseman at that point of the Indians, Eddie Robinson, who I think has kind of a checkered history with the whole with Doby's integration. But he ends up not really playing much in 47. And then in 48, he ends up coming into spring training, going into the outfield, showing that he can play the outfield, and then he ends up, I think it's like May, he starts hitting, and he's on the verge of being sent down to the minor leagues, which we should say, Jackie Robinson had a full season in Montreal, a very successful season in Montreal, where he was treated very well by the people of Montreal. Doby was just thrown right onto the roster in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, you say they signed him to play first base. They actually, I don't know what they signed him to play. He was a middle infielder. And Lou Boudreau, when he shows up that day, this is what I'm talking about. It was different than Jackie. Lou Boudreau had no scouting report on him. He had to sit down and say, "What position do you play?" Well, Boudreau's he's the player manager and all-star, and he's playing shortstop. And then you got Joe Gordon, an all-star player, won an MVP with the Yankees, playing second. He ain't playing the middle infield, and he's played a little first, but not much, and really hadn't played any outfield. So the other story about that is when he goes back in the offseason, he wants to get on the field, and he knows he may lose his roster spot. And he goes to the library and rents a book about how to play the outfield, and goes in the snow at his high school field and catches fungos trying to play outfield. And then Tris Speaker, of course, comes into the picture, which is an interesting little sidebar. So yeah, there's all kinds of twists. It'd be a great movie. Somebody needs to make the Doby movie.
It's surprising that it hasn't been made into a movie.
I've thought about writing a script, man. I'm being completely honest. I'm that passionate about it. I may do it one day when I'm bored.
It's kind of a great story about Speaker too, because he grew up and he was like associated with the KKK as a youth, and to come on and mentor Doby in that way was just really cool.
Yeah.
And Joe Gordon, who is historically one of the good guys. The story is that Doby comes out onto the field, I guess, looking for somebody to have a catch with, and Joe Gordon is the guy who says, "Yeah, okay, let's have a catch." Even though Joe Gordon, Doby was the second baseman for the Newark Eagles.
Yeah,
he could have been there to take Gordon's job, and Gordon was not that old. I'm sorry, not that young in 1948. He'd been, I guess, he only lasted until like 50 or 51. I'm thinking baseball card wise. No, there's a 52 Joe Gordon. Anyway, so he's one of the good guys, and I like to collect good guys, so I have some Gordon cards too. But this show isn't about him.
Yeah,
Gordon is kind of like Doby's Pee Wee Reese.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So, let's see. So this is a baseball card show. So let's show some baseball cards. So, I tried to go sort of chronological, but it's tough with some of these photos, like the exhibit on the left. Scott, what is that in particular?
That's his exhibit card, and I believe that was a Negro League uniform that they kind of airbrushed out. Not an expensive card. It's pretty easy to find. Those are so hard to date, though. And then the one on the right. Go ahead. Yeah,
the exhibit is I thought could be a Negro League uniform. because it's certainly not an Indians uniform. And then of course they blacked out the hat, so I thought that was maybe pre-rookie kind of picture.
Mhm.
And then the one on the right,
That's a 1948 team issued picture pack. So that
Yeah,
predates his
terrific.
rookie card.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then there they are,
There's the 48
the
team.
1948 world champions.
That's really cool.
Love these cards.
Mhm.
This is an exhibit also.
Look how tall Satchel is there in the middle.
Yeah. It's you got a lot of Hall of Famers in this, between Boudreaux and Gordon and Bob Lemon and Feller. Feller's in here. He's got to be in here somewhere, right?
Yeah, he's in there.
Yeah, there he is. Far left, second row. And then you got who else? Lemon, Feller, of course, Doby, Satch. Yeah, I mean this is an amazing team. And again, if you haven't read the book, it's called Our Team. Epplin, Epplin is the author. Fantastic book. And it just tells the story through the lens of Bill Veeck, Satchel Paige, Larry Doby, and Bob Feller.
Yeah.
And this is how'd you get this one, Scott?
Our man Warren gave me that as a gift. So that's game 4. There's the first home run by a black player in World Series history.
Yep.
So Larry Doby hit the home run. There's the famous picture of Doby embracing his teammate at the end of the game there.
Yep.
So
I
that's
didn't
really
put it
cool
in the
piece.
slideshow, but there is a photo of Doby with Steve Gromek
Right.
hugging, smiling, and it was sort of one of those things that caught the attention of the American public as sort of a sign of positive race relations. Steve
Yeah.
Gromek, another great guy in the game who should be celebrated. There he is.
Got him signed.
Awesome. So these are also picture packs?
Right. These are both 1949. The one on the left is a novelty company, and the one on the right is team issued.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. We'll see that picture coming up again.
This is the envelope for the novelty company picture pack.
Nice.
And on
And
the
then
back, Larry Doby had signed it.
That's really cool.
That is beautiful.
And our man Mookie gave me that one.
Oh, okay. Wow. Mookie is good at gifts.
He is.
I got one at
He gave me this
Strongsville.
That's a Mookie gift right there. Newark Eagles.
So I'd like to tag guys who were good guys in the hobby who we mentioned in the show. So we got Warren and Mookie so far, and I'm sure we'll have more. So then there's this.
Yeah.
This is a terrible card, but I love it because Doby is a white left-handed pitcher with the number 57.
Yeah.
So MP and company didn't even care. They were just whatever.
Was it M&P? I think it is.
Yeah, M&P company. Yeah, this was actually Johnny Vandermeer's card in 1942, and then they released them in 49. They just changed the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had my discussions with Mangini about the relative merits of this set. I'm on the negative end, so oh well. So I guess we could talk about another hobby good guy when you talk about the story of how you got the 49 Bowman Larry Doby, Scott.
Right. This was the last National. It was in Chicago 2 years ago. This was on my radar, and if I found it, it was pretty much going to blow my budget. And I found it within 15 minutes of entering the National, and I was like, "Oh man!" But Chris from Missouri walked up to me, and he's like, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "I'm looking for that card." And that was the first time I actually that card actually came onto my radar, because when I first met Chris the year before, we were sitting in a bar, and he pulls out this. I think it was a PSA 4, and it was gorgeous, just like mine is. And I was like, I really need to get this card. And so he asked me what I was looking for, and I said, I'm looking for this card. And he's like, well, buy it. And I had done some work for Chris, and it was, a gift sort of, but Chris handed me a nice chunk of change that helped me swallow the pill a little better.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
I tried to buy that card in Strongsville this year.
Mhm.
There were 2 different dealers in the room who had it. One, his price was okay, but the card didn't speak to me condition wise. And then the other one, his price was too high, but the card was pretty nice. And I think it were 2. I think they were 2s. They were both 2s.
Mhm.
So I feel like at the National, it's a card that I'm probably going to see half a dozen times, hopefully.
This is
And,
one of those cards that if I had walked away from it, I would have been kicking myself ever since because
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I love that
Yeah,
card.
it is a gorgeous example. The color is fantastic.
Mhm.
I love that set. I should mention there's the 50 Bowman. So Tony, we got to your card.
Yeah, so mine ain't as pretty as y'all's, but I'm going for autographs. So, like that 49 Bowman right there. I mean, the signature's bled in that, but man, I mean, he signed it. He held it. He signed it. It didn't, do too great after that. But I paid $3,000 for that card, and one just sold. The last several it sold have sold for 16,000 and 18,000. So I'll take my $3,000 version. He still held it and he signed it. So I've made a point on some of my videos when I'm doing a signed run, and I have his entire signed run now, except for the Leaf. There's only one in existence, and I know who has it, and he ain't giving it up. So when you're doing a signed run, you're more after the autograph, man. If the card's a little tattered, it just means somebody loved the card, So it doesn't bother me as bad as if we're collecting without an autograph on it. So I'll just set the stage for that right now.
Well, the other thing about the condition of the card with autographs is that back when on card autographs were not as popular a thing, or in some ways even a thing at all. If you were to get a card signed by somebody, it was in some respects viewed as kind of defacing the card.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the card that gets used in that scenario is a card that is challenged conditionally. So you'll see heavy crease cards with autos on it. And I know this from doing some of my 1970s stuff, is that the cards often are problematic. But again, what you said is right. You're not doing it for the auto. I mean, you're not doing it for the card. You're doing it for the auto.
Yeah, and the pop counts on these, are not very high with the autograph. The 48 Bowman right there, the pop count's 22 with a sign with signature on it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the rookie card ends up being the one with the most pop, but the 50 I've got right here is 11. So it goes to half. So yeah, so they're not. There's not a ton of them out there, man. So when you find one, you just got to jump on it. So.
Do you have that 50 unautographed sitting near you?
Yeah.
Let me see that blazer. There we go.
Yeah, that's a beauty. That's one of those eye appeal that's a little higher than what the actual grade is. There's really, I can't find anything wrong with the card. It's got a little stain right there on the back, but maybe that's why. But it's dead centered. It's perfect.
Yeah, that is beautiful color. Everything. Yeah, it sticks out in this group. And then there's the 51. What's the pop on the 51 autos? Do you know?
That's the pop 25. So that's the most actually of any of his cards. So yeah, there's a lot of those out there.
So here's another beautiful 51. Scott, what's the story with this magazine?
This was just something I found. This was at a national, I can't remember which one, but it was just sitting in a box of half off stuff, and it's not in great shape, but I paid $6 for it, but it was from 1950, and I just love that they're questioning if Larry Doby could be better than Jackie Robinson, because he was younger, and it's a neat little read.
Yeah,
it's a good discussion though. I mean, because they both had, Doby played longer, but his career I think was somewhat truncated. But he had some really phenomenal seasons in the early 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it last night. In 1954, he came in second in the MVP voting for a team that won like 111 games or something, or 100, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And Yogi Berra won the MVP that year, and nothing against Yogi Berra, but Doby had a better season. I mean, Doby really should have won the MVP in '54.
Yeah. So bringing up Mookie again, he had the privilege of interviewing both of them at the opening of Yogi Berra's museum back in the day. Mookie was in college, and he asked in the press conference, Larry, are you mad at Yogi because he won the MVP over you? And so that's really cool that Mookie got to ask that question, and Larry laughed it off and said, no, Yogi deserved it. And so anyways, really, really cool. I'm going to pub it real quick, but go back to Mookie's channel and find his Larry Doby when he talks about when he interviewed Larry that time and some of the questions he asked him. It's really interesting. So
I guess it was at the opening of the Yogi Berra Museum, which is right in Montclair,
right
New Jersey there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put a link down below to Mookie's video about that event, which is really a must watch.
Yeah.
And Doby, I guess he won 2 home run crowns. It's a lot of this in between, like 48 and 56. He's really one of the best players in baseball for like 7 seasons in a row. So, it's kind of a shame that he got overshadowed, but he also didn't make it into the Hall of Fame until like 1980 or something, which is disgraceful.
Yeah. Because he's more than just numbers, man. It's,
Yeah.
So
it was later than that. It was, what was it, 90?
And I mean, even on his numbers, he's a Hall of Famer. Why it was kind of amazing that they couldn't put him in. So anyway, these are my Larry Doby cards, except for one we'll see a little bit later with a story to it. There's the 52 Bowman, 53 Bowman, upper right, 56 tops, and the 54 Bowman, which I have subsequently upgraded since this picture was taken. I got a nice, really nicely centered. I think it's a little undergraded as a 5. This could probably be even higher, but happy to have that one. A beautiful card with the background. He's on the steps of the dugout. But the one in the middle is the one I want to talk about a little bit because I have it and you guys don't.
yeah, that's awesome.
It's one of the few that I could say that about in this particular set of cards. Actually, 2. There are only 2 of my Dobies that you guys don't already have. Anyway, or have signed. It's the 1952 Num Num set. And this card, besides the fact that he's coming in and he's fielding and it's a great action shot, is absolutely stunning in terms of the quality of it. But SGC puts an A on it because it doesn't have the tab at the bottom.
Oh, wow.
And if it were graded by PSA, I mean, it's kind of irrelevant, but I have a Al Rosen from the same set that doesn't have a tab that PSA graded a 7,
Wow.
which this Doby is actually nicer than. So I really love the quality of this. And this cost me, and it's a pretty rare set, cost me a grand total of $80 when I bought it off of Facebook.
Wow.
In like 2021, I believe. So very
That is
happy to
amazing.
keep that one in my collection.
It's really pretty.
Tough to find. I haven't seen one since, actually. And I actually look at the Num Nums when I see them.
Well, if you see a sign, let me know.
I should say the 3 of us all have active Instagram accounts, some more than others.
Yeah.
But I have in the last few days gotten multiple people contacting me in messages asking to buy cards in my stream, which is annoying because it's a collector stream of cards. It's just the cards. I don't put prices on them, and I'm keeping them. So people have actually inquired about this Doby card.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I will put links to all of our Instagrams.
Well, I'm glad I didn't ask about it then, Dan.
I'll laugh it off. So there's your 1952. This is Scott, and then the same photograph is used for the drawing for the what year of Redman is that?
That is a 52. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a nice one.
I love the purple on that one.
Yeah, I mean they did a nice job. I've never been a big fan of the Redman. I only have a couple of them, but some of them are really good, and this Doby is particularly good.
Yeah, definitely hit or miss.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the one in the middle there, the Burke Ross, but you got the 52 signed. What's the pop on that?
On the Burke Ross?
No, the tops. I mean,
That one is a let's see here. It's a 27. So actually that is the most. You see those out there, but usually the card's kind of tattered like that. And if you'll notice, Doby, he signs a lot of his cards up. They're signed vertically. It's just something he did, but he did a good job of getting it on his shirt so you can see it. But yeah, that's a great card. I've thought about buying a non-sign one and try to get a good centered one because they're so hard to find. But it's a great picture.
Yeah, and then the Burke Ross one. Tell us the story about how you ended up with that one.
Yeah, that one's a real tough one, signed. There's only pop 2. So that makes 3. That one hasn't been graded, obviously, so it's not in the pop report. But the Burke Ross set doesn't have a lot of signed cards in it at all. Like people just didn't get those signed for whatever reason. You know, the pop count's lower than tops anyways. But I had reached out to I every year, 3 times a year, probably on my Instagram story, I'd say I'm looking for that one. And then I'm looking for the signed Leaf, and I'm looking for the 52 Bowman. That took me forever to get the 52 Bowman signed. So anyways, I put those out there, and this guy reached out to me and said, I got a friend that has one of the Burke Ross. He wanted an arm and a leg for it, and I just passed on. I'm glad I did. Sometimes patience pays off. But then that one came up in an auction in a lot. I think there was 14 cards in that lot. And a lot of those were pop 0 on the sign, and they were all signed, by the way. So I bought the whole lot to get this card, and I got some great cards out of them too. I still have all of them. So, anyway, I'm going to get some of those graded eventually. I just haven't done it.
Are you going to do it the National?
I'm thinking about it. Yeah. It depends on, they haven't come out with their prices yet on what it's going to cost for that deal. You know, I may just do it at the National and let them have them. And if it takes 6 months, whatever. But yeah, that one in the 52 Bowman right there took me forever. The Bowmans just never came up. And then I found this one raw, so that's not on the pop report. But the 52 Bowman is a pop 9. And I've seen a couple of raw ones pop up. So you'll see that happen from time to time when you're in the signed card realm. But I was able to grab that one. I've seen a couple of more pop up since then, but it's crazy. Like for over like a year and a half, I didn't see one, and I've got searches all over the place. So that one was my last one that I needed for the run. So I'm pretty fired up to have it.
You've seen a lot of Doby autographs, obviously, but are you comfortable buying these that they're authentic?
Yeah, I mean, he has a pretty the way he does his D and everything to me is kind of hard to replicate. And you know, you can just kind of tell. And honestly, for what those cost, he doesn't he doesn't cost as much as Jackie Robinson, obviously. And so, you know, for a $150 card, if it ends up not getting authenticated, I'm not out an arm and a leg either. So so yeah, I look at them. I mean, I'm not going to just buy a raw one. The one we'll see in a minute, the 54 Bowman, it actually came with a JSA authentication. So it's raw, but it was authenticated.
So we do have the 52.
Yeah.
In Scott's collection.
I think that was my $10 52. I just haven't upgraded it yet.
That may be one of the hardest cards in the hobby to find centered.
Yeah.
It is always off center. I wonder where it was on the sheet. It's never centered.
And then this gorgeous 53 Bowman, which I think we all have. I love that, you know, I love this set because the photographs are maybe some of the best photographs ever taken for baseball cards. They're taken by professional photographers who were paid a lot of money to do them. But this particular one is, again, kind of poignant with the blue sky behind him. And do you think that's Municipal Stadium, Scott?
I don't think so.
No? Oh, that's right. Yeah, most of these are taken at a Polo Grounds and Yankee Stadium, but I don't think that's Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, it seems like you'd see more of the grandstands.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think that's Yankee Stadium. It's weird. All right. I'll have to do a little deep dive into what's the 53 Bowman Larry Doby picture taken. So we have tab and no tab on the do you know what year those are? Oh, actually it says it on there, right?
Yeah, it says it on the tab. It's a 54, I think, or 55. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see it. But
And then there's I guess that's a press. Is that a press steel?
So yeah, it's press steel. That 55 is a pop one on the signed card. There's not any other graded ones out there that I can find. And then the one without the tab was a gift from Jason, the Everyday Card Collector. So give him some props on that one. But yeah, these are all my oversized signed ones. So yeah, that's the press steel, and then that's that exhibit card we saw earlier.
Yeah, nice. And then there's the 53 Bowman again. So what was the story with the 54? Oh, the 54 Bowman. You have raw, but it's got a JSA.
Yeah. And then the dandy right there was a gift from Mookie. So Mookie's been mentioned a lot in this. He's a good dude.
We got Jason and Woo. We got more good guys.
Yeah.
So the dandy set is, I think, underrated. I think one of the reasons people stay away from it is because it's got whatchamacallit,
the wax,
potato chip grease, or whatever you want to call it.
The fun story about that dandy card is I've been looking at them on eBay. I wanted to buy one. You can't find one that's autographed, but I wanted one anyways for my run. And so I put a bid. It was like a best offer thing. I put a best offer and they didn't take it. And then it just went away. And the next thing I know, it shows up in my mailbox, and it was Mookie who had it on eBay, and he recognized my eBay tag and took it off and just sent it to me as a gift. So that's really cool. That was just happenstance. So
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a tough card. It's one of those cards that if I see it, I'm probably going to grab it at the National. There are quite a few Indians in that set, right, Scott?
Right. They're pretty local to Ohio, so.
I have Feller and I have Luke Easter, so that's it. Both on the Indians at that point. So that is a nice 54 Bowman there.
It is. I love that image, even though he looks like he's constipated or something. But yeah, with the stadium behind him there.
His cards chronologically go from a lot of smiley cards to a lot of pensive cards later on.
Right.
And there's the 56 where he looks literally pained.
Yeah. Now that one, you can't hardly even see the signature. It's so faded out. But I've looked for other ones. I can't find another one. Those are tough, man. Those pop 14. So if I find one with a better signature, I still have a search out there. I'll buy it. But right now, that's the placeholder.
So I like to think he looks so angry on the 56 because he knows he got traded. He's like, wouldn't even change his hat.
Yeah, that's funny.
He has a pretty solid year in 55. It's not MVP quality like 54, but then they went ahead and traded him, which I don't understand it, honestly. I think they were looking for infields. There were infielders, like speedy infielders in the trade too. I think they were just looking for a change of scenery.
And it could have had something to do with Bill Veeck owning the White Sox at that point. And maybe he was just putting in overtures. He really thought a lot of Doby.
So he actually has a pretty decent year in his first year with the White Sox, but then he's in his mid-30s and his skills start to diminish a little bit. So he ends up going to Cleveland. Then he goes back to Cleveland. I mean, and then he goes back to the White Sox, and he's on the Tigers, I think, one year. So these cards are not difficult cards to find. I mean, just generally speaking, not autograph wise.
Yeah, I agree.
Where did you get the 58?
I got that on eBay, believe it or not. I have just a search for Larry Doby autograph cards and then search for Larry Doby autographs. So every day I get stuff in my inbox, if they go on there. But yeah, I love that one. The autograph really shows really nice on the yellow.
Yep.
That's that old SGC when they were joined in with JSA. And I hate how it says deceased as the year he died. But yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, it's a beautiful card. That one, the pop count is 24. So it's one of his higher pop counts.
There was one. I remember Greg did a Greg Midlife did a card show video. He doesn't do that many of those, but he did one. I guess he was with his dad, and they were at a card show, and there was a signed 58 Doby that looked. I don't think it's this one because I remember the signature going up like into where his name was.
Yeah, he always signed vertically like that on a lot of cards, as you can see.
Yeah. So, what's the story with this?
It showed up on my eBay search. I just thought it was cool. I love to get the old magazines, and like Scott said, to look through and read them. I'd rather have them not graded. That way you can flip through it. If it's in that big case in the coffin, you can't even see it. I have some of those with Jackie Robinson. Of course, they're not signed, but I'd love to read them. I've had to go online and find the articles and read the articles. But yeah, it's just a really cool magazine. It's from 1956, and it has a lot of images in there of him. I should have brought it up here. It's downstairs, but of him through the years playing football in high school and playing basketball in high school and holding trophies. And then there's some really interesting articles, like has a Bill Russell article about him playing college. He's going in the draft, and about how dominant they had to change the rules in college basketball because of him and how dominant he was. So, to read those old magazines, it's really cool, man. It's a time capsule. So
yeah. They should have used this picture on his 56 instead of the scowling one.
Yeah, man, that's a great picture. Just an awesome picture.
So on this one, you could sense he was going back to Cleveland.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this, I currently have this in my collection, and it is an absolute gorgeous piece that I'm never going to leave from my collection. Not just because it's a 7, but I just love the I don't know, the image quality with the hires thing, and then it's got the bot. It's just, I don't know, it just speaks to me. The nice story about this one is I was bidding on this, as was someone else that we know, in the Love of the Game auction, and I didn't win, but the person who did win offered to sell this to me for what I would have paid if my last bid had won, and that person was Tony, right below. Thank you, sir. And it took a journey from Tennessee to New York, and when it arrived, one of the corners of the boxes had been like banged into and lopped off, but a testament to your packing skills, Tony. This one actually did not get hurt at all, because there was big, thick bubble wrap, like the big circular bubble wrap that's like the size of a piece of fruit. Those. Yeah. So it saved the card, miraculously.
And the reason I went ahead and got it, because I think we're on that Discord together, and I thought you had said you were out. It had gotten too expensive, so that's why I went ahead and just got it. None knowing to me. And then I thought, when I got it, I thought, well, what if Dan ended up bidding on it? So that's when I reached out to you, and you said you were the underbidder, and I'm like, crap. Then I'm just going to give it. I'm going to give it to you. So I didn't want to be that guy. So,
well, don't take me at my word when I say I'm out, because sometimes I decide to not be out again.
Yeah, that happens. Doesn't it?
Yeah. So thank you for that, my friend. And it is a cherished piece in my collection, not just because it's a beautiful item, but because of the way that a friend decided to make things, a lot nicer for me. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So this yours, Scott? Is
yes,
this yours?
This one's mine. Yep.
Yeah. So he goes back to the Indians in the late 50s, and they make this absolutely amazing baseball card of him with Minnie Minoso. Minoso is Hall of Famer now. Colavito, who of course was a hero in Cleveland until sadly he was traded in a ill-conceived trade to Detroit. He eventually came back to the Indians, but he wasn't the same. And not a Hall of Famer, but certainly Hall of close to being a Hall of Famer. And of course Doby back on the Indians. And all 3 signed.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, this outfield was not together very long, but that was quite an outfield.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one, also I like that one, because it looks like, to me, because it's really difficult to get 3 signatures on one card. Looks like to me the Rocky Colavito is probably close to a Playing Days signature with the ballpoint. So being an autograph guy, and then later on somebody else got it, or maybe it was the original owner, and then tracked down Doby and Minoso, and ended up getting the Sharpie. So to me that's really cool, man, because it kind of shows a time period change.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I was very lucky to find that one.
Yeah, what's the story of you acquiring it?
That was right before the National. My friend Tony Black sent me a text. His LCS had put this up on eBay, and I never thought I'd find one, because I'd only ever heard of one before this one, and I went and I put a really strong bid on it, and I got it for about a third of what I thought it would go for. So I think I ended up paying like around $120 for it.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's
Let's go. Let's go to the next page.
Yeah, I didn't get mine for that. Yeah, that one was on eBay, and my buddy Brett McGrath on Stacking Slabs podcast, he has a segment he calls press and bin. I think, where you buy it now and you just got to do it, bam. And dude, I saw that and I had to have it. Like, not only like we're talking about, to have a card signed, but to have one signed by all three guys. That's difficult, man. And you can't figure out how many are out there, because if you look up the pop count on PSA, it just says signed. It doesn't tell you how many people signed it. So there's no telling. I don't know, man. Skaght and mine are the only two I've ever seen. So I don't know, but it's very cool.
Yeah, it would be interesting to if they had somehow or another pictures of the ones that they list, so that you would know if it's just Colavito or just Doby or whatever. But yeah, these are all, I guess Rocky Colavito lived until last year, I think it was. He passed away very, very recently, as far as I know. And the other two guys, Doby passed away in 2000, I think it was. And Minoso even later than that. So they were around during that heyday of signatures in the 80s and 90s.
That card's a Pop 12 signed on PSA's Pop report. So there's 12 of them signed. We have no idea how many of them have three. No idea. It can't be very many. But, that one right there, unlike Scott's, that could have been at some Indians fan fest where they were all sitting at a table and some dude had the card and went down, because the marker looks very similar. And if that's the case, it's still cool. But or it could have been somebody had to chase them down all over the place and go to different card shows to get it. I don't know.
It's still nice that the marker's consistent.
Yeah. So.
And then you got the 59 where he's on the Tigers. He only spent like a half a season with the Tigers.
Yeah, he won't even wear that hat.
Yeah. And then the question you asked about when he's deceased is answered on that flip right there, 2003.
Oh, it's 2003. Okay, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a very strong signature too. So
this is the 58, which again, it's an Indians card, which is nice. The color is good, but I'm not a terribly big fan of the set. But it's a 7. Congratulations on that, Scott.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then that's the Cracker Jack card. Yeah, that's the Cracker Jack card, but it's
Cracker
separated.
Jack card from '83. Yeah, that was my first Larry Doby autograph.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And it was purchased with the autograph on it, or it was signed afterwards.
It was purchased with it on it.
Yeah. Okay. And then Tony has the Cracker Jacks, but it's the entire frame.
Yeah, it's a sheet. It's uncut sheet.
It's sheet, not frame. Sheet.
Yeah, that was
signed by all 8 players there.
No, Mantl's not on there, and Killebrew's not on there, but all the other ones are. Aliva's not, but you see Kaline, Feller, Doby, Brooks, and Whitey are all on there. That was an eBay purchase, and I've got another uncut sheet that has some other players and probably has about 5 or 6 on it as well. But bought it. They came together on eBay. So
Well, Oliva's still around and signing, so you could maybe add
Yeah.
one more to that.
I actually met him at spring training a couple of years ago, and he's a roving instructor for the Twins, and my cousin was the bench coach, so we got to get behind the ropes and stuff. He was a nice fella. So
Yeah.
my cousin told some interesting stories about him. So he would instruct the guys on how to hit, and they would have to go behind them and tell the kids, listen, don't listen to him, because he'd have some really fast kid that they didn't want him hitting the ball in the air. And Lee was like, you got to hit the ball in the air, man. They don't pay for base hits. And then Gardenhire and my cousin and the hitting coach have to go behind and say, look, don't listen to him. We need line drives out of you. We need gap to gap power, and you're going to get on base and run. So, it was funny. But, he was doing his best. He's just trying to help. So, and then the autograph picture pack, that's a gift from Mookie, too.
Wow.
He brought that to me at Strong.
I got to meet this Mookie guy. I got to meet this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so Doby, I guess his post-playing days, I know he works for some organization. He managed, actually, interestingly enough, the second ever African-American manager.
Yeah.
He coached for the White Sox and managed for about half a season.
Yeah.
But then he becomes a major league financial planning.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did that. He was in the front office with the New Jersey Nets for a while. And
that's right. Yeah.
Did some different things.
It's a Tony thing, so it's got to be signed.
Yeah. So I just thought that was a cool signed card. It's a business card, but it's still a signed card. And then that coin, that was a gift from Mookie too, but it's two-sided. One, it's actually a Medal of Freedom, I believe. That's an actual U.S. Mint coin, but that's one side, and the other side is him and Gromek.
Yes,
it's really cool.
So I should put that picture
every day
in the slideshow, but at least we got it. We got a version of the image there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mookie gave me one too. I don't want him to feel like left out that I didn't mention
mine. Now this is Scott's. I put these two together.
Right.
These two photographs. It's the same ball, right?
Correct.
That's really cool.
He signed a 50th anniversary Jackie Robinson ball, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that is amazing. And then Tony's got a ball.
Yep. Gotta have a baseball.
So Mickey Vernon, who I spoke about a little while ago, is in this photograph. But what do we have here, Scott?
So Kid from Cleveland is a very terrible movie from 1949, right after the Indians won the World Series. And the thing that's great about it, though, is like all these players, and Bill Veeck is in it. And Bill Veeck's actually a major character in this movie. And it's just really fun to watch. And Satchel Paige is in it, Doby's in it, Feller's in it, and need to see them in the 40s. So this one has Boudreaux, Jim Hegan, Larry Doby's in there, and he signed it. And then his buddy Mickey Vernon's in there, Bob Feller's in there, and I forget the other two players, but Bill Veeck's front and center too.
That's really cool, man.
Why are they wearing red hats and sleeves?
To just whoever colorized it.
Oh, it was black and white, and they colored it.
Wow. And yeah, Bill Veeck is there. There he is.
I got a lot of respect for Veeck, man. He was a good dude.
He was.
So I should say, yeah, and we again a little plug for Luke before we plug a little Scott, but I didn't realize the full life of Bill Veeck until I read Luke's book. I thought of him because I was alive when he was owning the White Sox and doing the shorts and the beer nights and all that stuff, and the disco demolition night and all the sort of crazy stuff he did in the 70s, but I didn't really know the full story of him in the 40s and 50s when he really did make a big difference.
Yeah. So
have you read Veeck as in Wreck?
You got that one
No.
signed. How about a signed Bill Veeck card?
That's awesome.
Oh, sure. Well, there we go.
Look at that. Those are hard to find, man. So really cool.
So what we see on the screen here are two artistic renditions of Larry Doby by one Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're even
the one on
signed.
the left, yep, the one on the left is from 2021. I did that for Nina S. And the one on the right ended up in Mookie's collection, fittingly.
There's that Mookie again.
Yep.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. You're so talented, dude.
Oh, thank you.
It's unreal.
I should say that you did the photograph, the drawing or artistic piece for Orlando,
Oh man,
which is not part of this, which was really kind of one of those videos that I got emotional watching it. But I know you did your own video about it too, where
Right.
you're raising funds for cancer research through selling the Diego cards. And I bought 2 of them, and I'm going to do a video when I get them, but I haven't gotten them yet.
Appreciate that, Dan.
But I will link to that below, because that's an important thing that you did there. And obviously appreciate your abilities, your artistic abilities, but also, Scott, tribute to you as a human being for doing the things that you do. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
And finally, what I usually call the money shot.
Yeah, that's all the regular size ones. I didn't put the oversized one. They wouldn't
There's
fit.
a lot of money in that shot.
Yeah. So that's the signed run, but there's a few unsigned in there as well. But.
Yeah. So what's next for you, Doby collection wise, Tony?
I just always have my eye out for stuff. What I did after I finished that one, I started a Monty Irvin one. So I've finished his sign run actually. So if you ever want to do a Monty Irvin episode, call me. Yeah, that was a fun one to get to.
About a year and a half ago, I did a Monty Irvin show with our mutual friend Wade.
Awesome. Yeah.
Who has probably grown his collection. So maybe we'll revisit that. Scott, what is next for you in terms of Doby? You find what you find, right?
Yeah, there's stuff that I don't have still, so I'm still looking for that. I need the dandy, and I still want the root beer, the Irish root beer.
Yeah, I want to get the leaf. I got to get that one. It ain't gonna be signed, but I got to have it for my collection.
Yeah. One of my targets, like top 10 targets at the National, is going to be the 49 Bowman. But there's some other cards that I obviously need to fill in that I would like to get, like the 52 tops. So we'll see. So I hope we did Mr. Doby proud, and certainly very appreciative of both of you coming on to For Collectors, as you do, to show your collections and talk about a player or a team or whomever, and offer us your time. And I do appreciate both of you coming on, and I consider you both friends, and very happy to have that. So
well, thanks.
Appreciate you having me.
Parting words, Scott?
Here's some suggested reading.
Yeah.
Jerry Izenberg wrote this one
Awesome.
recently. It's really, really good. And then this is kind of the closest thing to Doby's autobiography. Mm-hmm. But it's not, but it's also very good.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Awesome. I'll put links to those down in the description. Tony, any parting words?
No, I mean, like I said, if you want to read one of these books, you'll be blown away. They're really good. Doby is a guy that should be held in esteem and put on a pedestal. And, so he deserves all the flowers. I'm hoping he'll start getting traction, and he needs a day. I mean, even if it's the Cleveland Indians do a Larry Doby day and they all wear his number, to me, that's something that needs to be done.
That's something that we've been talking about here, like locally. Is not that I have anything to do with it, but like we do want that. Like on July 5th, they should be home every July 5th and wearing 14.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a great idea. Well, gentlemen, the outro plays after this. Stick around, because the outro kicks us all out of the room. And then we can chat afterwards. So anyway, take care, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Love my hobby. Keep collecting baseball cards.
But hey, we want to keep the lights on here at For Collectors Studios, so hit the like button for us, guys.
So thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you next time on For Collectors.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. Subscribe to the Four Collectors channel if you haven't done so yet, and we'll see you soon.
All right, guys. Clemente Collector has said we hit a grand slam, so that makes me feel good.